President Bola Tinubu has signed the Investments and Securities Bill into law, strengthening Nigeria's capital market regulatory framework. The new Investments and Securities Act replaces the 2007 Act, introducing key reforms to enhance investor confidence, market oversight, and global alignment. Securities and Exchange Commission Director General Dr. Emomotimi Agama hailed the act as a transformative step, enabling SEC to foster innovation, protect investors, and attract both local and foreign investment. The legislation is expected to close regulatory gaps and create a more resilient, inclusive, and competitive capital market in Nigeria. He joins us now for more on this. Welcome, Dr. Agama.
And thank you for having me.
All right, thank you too for joining us, sir. Congratulations on this landmark legislation, I must say.
Thank you very much. It is actually heartwarming.
All right. Now, the ISA 2025 is to strengthen the legal framework of the Nigerian capital market, enhance investor protection, and also introduce critical reforms to promote market integrity, transparency, and sustainable growth. Now, are you confident that this piece of legislation can deliver all of these? I mean, help us unpack that.
Oh, I am more than confident. I'm confident because the ISA 2025 is a transformative law. It's a transformative law that is dynamic, that is resilient, and that is all-encompassing. Mr. President, President Bola Tinubu, who is a veteran in this market to the extent that he is one of the very few governors in his time as governor of Lagos State that utilize the capital market to the sources and progress of the Lagos State government and, of course, for the benefit of Lagos citizens. So it is therefore no wonder that he immediately signed this bill into law. And that is for us, a major milestone. But beyond all of that, the constituents of the new law are so huge that there is no way, if properly applied, if properly deployed, that we will not achieve all that we aim to achieve.
Right. So from where you stand, I'd like you to talk to us about what you would describe as the key highlights of this particular act.
Right. Fantastic. From where I stand, I don't think a short-time interview will enable me speak to all that is in this law. However, there are some very, very significant highlights that will be necessary and useful for all to know about. So one of them is actually the fact that the SEC, in maintaining and promoting international benchmark, is now going to maintain its signatory A status with the International Organization for Securities Commission, IOSCO, by reason of its being able to meet basic items that it requires it to be part of that elite group of securities regulators worldwide. And what is that? It is the fact that as the SEC, we are now able to request for phone information, internet information, digital information regarding any investor or anyone that operates within the Nigerian capital market. That for us is huge because it strengthens our enforcement capability and capacity. Beyond that, another very key highlight of the new law is the fact that digital Ponzi scheme operators do not have a hiding place anymore, because in this law, we have introduced stiffer sanctions. There will be a penalty of 20 million for the operators of Ponzi scheme, and also there is going to be a 10-year jail term for anyone caught to be involved in all of this. So clearly for us, it is a win for the Nigerian people, because a lot of Nigerians have actually been beaten by these unscrupulous persons who will engage in actions that are inimical to the progress of Nigerians. The other thing that is a major point in this bill is the fact that we have now recognized virtual assets, right? And of course, provided clarity and definition to what digital assets are. And they have the powers and the means to regulate such, within the Nigerian capital market. This is huge because cryptocurrency and its allies are major instruments, asset classes that a lot of Nigerians are currently involved in. That for us is also a major point in the new ISA, and of course that will promote inclusion in whatever form in the Nigerian capital market. Investor protection mechanisms, mergers and acquisition, and restrictions regarding municipal and state governments in accessing the market has been relaxed. So clearly, it provides opportunities for more citizens and more companies to access the market and to be part of the market as time goes on. This is very, very critical and important. The new ISA also has empowered the Commission to regulate credit guarantee agencies in order to provide succor and sort of insurance to the issuances of more securities and more assets to the Nigerian public and Nigerian investor. Another point we have also, added in this act is the inclusion of the National Pension Commission as, a board member of the SEC as of today, because before now they were not a member of this very important board. So clearly, the additions and the improvements in the ISA are geared towards improving the investment climate, providing clear regulatory framework, providing powers for proper oversight, strengthening corporate governance, strengthening transparency, and of course, improving the integrity of the Nigerian capital market. We are very excited at this moment about this new development, and we believe that with strong investor confidence, transparency, and integrity, we are going to encourage more investors into the Nigerian capital market, and the future will be brighter for it.
All right, that's quite interesting. You said something about how that subnationals and their agencies can now access the capital market. But my question is, this used to happen before now. I mean, we know Lagos State accessed the capital market. We also know about, I think it was Gombe State that raised green bond and all that. So what's the difference here?
The difference is that prior to now, you used to have some restrictions in the law that, are very stringent in allowing governments to access the market. And those restrictions speak to the revenues of the previous year of the state government, which were a major impediment for their ability to be able to access the market. This has now been relaxed, and also because of the new legislations regarding local governments now have better access to the market, and we believe that the 774 local governments in Nigeria will take advantage of the opportunity of raising long-term capital for the development of their local governments and bringing, support to the citizens of those local governments.
All right, before I go away from that, you also talked about virtual assets. So talk to us. What does the classification of virtual assets and investment contracts as securities under Nigerian law mean for the investing public? And what corresponding action, guideline, or regulations should we expect from the SEC moving forward?
Yes, that is huge, and it is huge because the population that are involved in the virtual asset space is very, very huge. And so it was very timely that we have brought this to be. That is not to say we have not been regulating them. We were regulating them under the 2007 ISA, but to be specific was not, to be specific around regulation was not provided in the ISA 2007. That has now been done with the ISA 2025. But to come back to your question, we have actually issued regulations, vast regulations, as far back as 2020. Now we have revised those regulations, and it will be effective as as at June 2025. Those regulations provide clarity, provide framework, provide structure, provide governance for all of the digital asset space. And that is very huge because it allows people the confidence of coming into the market, knowing very well that they have guidance that will not be doubted at all at any point in time, helping investors to know exactly the direction that we are going to with regards to virtual asset service providers and the digital space.
All right, I recall earlier claims that a surge in demand for digital currency sort of intensified the pressure on the Naira And consequently, this led to the crackdown of several crypto exchanges, because many young Nigerians sort of turned to crypto as safe havens. Are we going to see more or less of these crackdowns, or what should we expect moving forward?
So it's important to know that registration is the hallmark of regulation. Without registration, regulation is difficult. The essence of regulating is to provide fences around the institutions, the products, the persons involved in it, and to make sure that they do not involve in things that are illegal. It is important also to note that we are working with the Central Bank of Nigeria, the EFCC, the NFIU, the Office of the National Securities Advisor, in the regulation of this space in order that it would not be inimical to the existence of Nigeria as a country and, be inimical to our economic growth. So what we're doing is to make sure that everyone that is involved in this space is properly guided. Because for every investment, even when it's a traditional investment, there's usually the risk aspect of it. That risk aspect of it is what we are managing. And it may not be completely correct to say that because people are trading in cryptocurrencies, then the Naira will go down. No. What we are going to provide is to provide guidance. And for anyone that wants to act against the national interest, the SEC now has the power to clamp down on such persons. So we encourage everyone who is in this space to come under regulation and to seek clearance, to seek guidance for whatever reason. And we are ready and able to provide such guidance so that at least the national economic interest is truly protected. So we believe that the regulation, the law itself, will bring succor to them because once clarity is provided, they are safer in dealing in this kind of businesses.
All right, thank you. We know that some crypto exchanges or some companies have been registered, about 7 of them or so, and we have more exchanges that have not been registered. I mean, can you give us a timeline when this is going to happen and why they are still waiting to be registered? Is there something about maybe they've not met some guidelines or some specifications?
Yeah, so what we are doing is that we do what we call moderated regulation or moderated registration. And that is why we cannot register everybody at once. And it has to go through a process. If you are aware that we have what we call the regulatory incubation and the accelerated regulatory incubation, those are tools that enable us determine, evaluate, and watch over the risk that these institutions will pose to the Nigerian economy and to the citizens of this country. And that is why we have done what we did. But having said that, it is a process. We are very soon, in the next quarter, going to release the next cohort. And after the evaluation of what has happened in the last 2 quarters, we are going to do that release in this next quarter. And so we are happy to note clearly that the processes around that is almost concluding, and so the public should be, alert, knowing fully well that that is going to happen this quarter.
Okay, that's interesting. We'll keep an eye on that. This quarter, this April, May, June, so second quarter we're talking about here. Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. So away from that, let's look at this particular ISA 2025. Some of the things you've highlighted as the aim is to ensure transparency and also to encourage investor confidence, to boost investor confidence. So how will this particular act help us achieve that?
Okay, so one of the things we are doing with this act is the introduction of risk management as a legal instrument. So risk management is very, very important to guide the operations of the capital market operators and the issuances of securities. By so doing, we are able to mitigate any risk that will rear its head in the nearest future. That, for us, we believe strongly will enhance our capability to deal with challenges that may arise in the process of regulation. And once this happens, the tendency is that investors will be more confident because they know that we have their back. That certainly will improve investor protection. So KYC is also beefed up through the risk management process. So that also helps us to be able to sieve out genuine investors from people who do not mean well for the market. And that also will improve investors' protection. The new ISA also has provisions around the intervention of the SEC in companies that are not doing well. Right. And so we have the powers to remove directors that are involved in fraudulent practices in companies that are listed on the exchange. That also will improve investors' confidence in the Nigerian capital market. The fact also that we have sanctions around Ponzi schemes and Ponzi schemes related activities will also improve investors' confidence. So there are several provisions in the new ISA that gives us the strength and power to be able to exercise what never used to be. And now with that, we are able to deal with challenges that emanate from the market for which, the investors are very concerned about. So we can assure Nigerian investors that with the new ISA, we are more empowered, we are more strengthened to deal with these challenges, and of course, they should be comfortable to trade and do business in the Nigerian capital markets.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Emomotimi Agama, Director General, Securities and Exchange Commission, for your time and your thoughts on the show today. I mean, some Nigerians will ask, who's regulating the regulator? But that's a question for another day. Thank you so much one more time for coming on the show.